'Cause baby, you're like the sun flying high on a blue sky, shining bright into the night. The stars sparkling down, yeah, diamonds and gold can't compare to your world. It's somewhere far beyond heaven and earth. When I hold you, I'm high above the clouds. Yeah, I'm so free that I don't think I'm ever coming down. Imagine faith and hope so alive. You got me feeling so good, 'cause baby, you're like the sun flying high on a blue sky, shining bright into the...
Welcome to Me, Myself, and Liberty. I'm Leslie Nesmith, and as you can see, I have somebody with me today, Daniel Navejas. Hello.
Hello.
All right. So today I want to let the audience know, tag your friends, share this. We've got a lot to talk about, some controversial issues. But before we get to that, I want to remind you that our conservative Christmas celebration is coming up on December 14th. And we have the tickets for sale. We have a link on the Oklahoma Taxpayers Unite page, as well as the Me, Myself, and Liberty page. The party is going to take place at the Hilton Garden Inn, Quail Springs. It is a really nice hotel. If you haven't been there, it's lovely. We're going to have tons of door prizes and silent auction items. And we have invited the CD5 candidates to come and talk and let you know about their platform and their vision for CD5. We do have 4 of them confirmed. There are a couple that are still hanging out there. So if you have a favorite candidate, you should message them and let them know that you expect to see them at the conservative Christmas celebration. We do have a couple of sponsorships available. If you're interested, just let me know and we'll tell you about those. All right, so we will be right back with Daniel Navejas and our controversial conversation. Hi, I'm Leslie Nesmith, host of Me, Myself, and Liberty right here on OTU Media. And I want to invite you to our first annual Conservative Christmas Celebration. It takes place December 14th from 6 to 8:30 p.m. We're going to have food. There will be a cash bar for those of you who like to be festive. And we will have lots of door prizes and silent auction items. Actually, I have a few right here, so you can do some Christmas shopping. Look at this. Oh, wine ovation. This is a wine opener. We have, okay, you're going to have to check this out for the guys. Look at this. This is a pricey little thing here, but it's going to be available too. I have some fun things for the ladies. Lots of little handbags. I even have a daisy slingshot. Okay, this is only a few of the things that we're going to have. They're prizes, silent auction items, and we're going to have some giveaways. So buy your tickets before December 1st, and you're going to be entered to win a weekend getaway at the Hilton Garden Inn, Quail Springs. That is awesome. If you are military, law enforcement, or a first responder, you get a special price. So make sure that when you go to the Eventbrite page, you click on your special pricing. Again, it's December 14th from 6 to 8:30 p.m. And one other thing, the CD5 candidates have been invited. So we have several of them confirmed. If you have a favorite candidate for Congressional District 5, you might give them a call or message them and say, hey, are you going to be at the Conservative Christmas celebration? I'll see you December 14th. Welcome back to Me, Myself, and Liberty. Okay, so and if this looks a little bit different than it normally does this week, it's because we're in Studio B. So we're doing a little experiment. So just bear with me here in case I, look over there at the screen. I'm just checking to make sure I don't have anything weird going on with my hair. Okay, all right. So Daniel, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, we've talked about having him on for a little while, and finally I was able to nail you down.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell the audience a little bit about you, and then I'm going to have you fill in any blanks.
Sure.
So there's quite a bit here. So you were raised in Western Oklahoma, and you raised in Western Oklahoma. Where did you go to school, like high school?
So I went to high school at Corn Bible Academy.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So that is okay.
Yep.
It says you graduated from Corn Bible Academy. I was thinking that was maybe a college or something.
No, high
That
school.
tells you how much I
Private
know.
Christian school in Western Oklahoma. Just quick plug, if you're looking for that kind of education in Western Oklahoma, you need to check it out.
Yeah, I'm going to check it out now. I don't need it, but now I'm really interested in it.
There you go.
Hey. All right, so Corn Bible Academy, you studied at Southwest OSU, right?
Yes.
And Southern Nazarene University. My
Yes.
dad graduated from
Okay.
Southern Nazarene. And Destiny Bible College and Oral Roberts University. That's very interesting, all of that. So on a personal note, how did you like Oral Roberts University?
I enjoyed very much of it. There were a lot of different things. I went there specifically for classes on church planting, and so there was definitely a lot of different ideologies behind that. And so, but I had a great experience there.
Oh, good. Okay, because I have a son that also goes to a small private. His is a small private Christian school, and trying to find the right. He's only in the 10th grade, so we're a little far out. But trying to find the right place for him to go after high school with all this, liberal stuff going on at the other universities. And you can't really homeschool them for college, right? Is there?
And that itself could be an entire topic on itself. After attending these different universities, many of these I would go there specifically for a class that I wanted. Some of the quick statistics on that: 86% of people that graduate with a degree work in a field that has absolutely nothing to do with their degree. So before you go into debt, $50,000, $100,000 worth of debt, you actually need to know you're either going into that field or what is the education that you're looking for. So when people ask me that are about to graduate and say, hey, what should I do? I got a really weird advice. Say travel. Go to Europe, go to Africa, go to Asia, learn and meet other people, try other cultures. One of the best educations I ever got was traveling.
Oh, yeah, and we're going to talk about some of that too. Yes, I'm very much like one of those people that I believe in trade schools and learning a trade, that kind of thing. Hey, plumbers and electricians make a ton of money.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you have been in full-time ministry for 19 years.
Yes.
You've traveled to 21 nations throughout the world. I've only been to Mexico. That's it. That's as exotic. That was on a cruise ship, so I can't really say a whole lot.
Sure.
So sharing the gospel, training leaders, humanitarian efforts. I just find that really fascinating to have gone to all those places. And so you've also owned businesses.
Yes.
So what? Let's talk about that for just a second. So owning businesses, what would you say is the to our audience about what you need to know about owning your own business? I always ask business owners this.
Sure.
Just one little piece of advice. What?
The first thing I do is find other people who've been entrepreneurs themselves and successful. Many of them have already walked through many of the pitfalls that you're going to walk in. Statistics show that an entrepreneur will fail 5 times before they actually succeed. And they're actually businesses that have been created to take advantage of those new entrepreneurs that are coming out. They're going to say, hey, we want to help you. Let's give you this loan and let's give you all this money. And there's an exorbitant amount of interest. And we're going to draft all the money out of your bank account this time. And it's in the fine print in that 200-page contract. If you talk to these entrepreneurs, share your ideas with them. Ask for wisdom. Ask for counsel. Don't try to do it on your own.
Yes, definitely learn from other people's mistakes.
Right.
For sure.
A lot of wisdom out there, and that's free.
Yeah.
Many of these, some of my best friends are in their 80s. I love hanging out with gray hair. If you have got gray hair, you're a friend because you've been through the experience, you have the education to be able to say this works, this doesn't work. And at least if you're saying, okay, that's what's your experience and I'm taking that into consideration and I'm going to try it anyway, at least you can say you knew.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't go into it blindly.
Right.
Well, we own our own business, and we definitely did some things blindly, and then some other things we had a little bit of background on. So we had a little bit of heartache, but it's all good, because now we can share that with our kids and tell them what not to do. Okay, so let's see here. So you're also you were part of the leadership team for gubernatorial candidate Dan Fisher.
Yeah, I helped serve with that team.
Okay.
During the gubernatorial race.
Okay. And you're currently a pastor and overseer of so I say ecclesia and you say ecclesia, so that would have to be the right way to say it.
Potato.
Yeah. So if I say it the wrong way, just forgive me.
Yeah.
Of Oklahoma, which is a statewide coalition committed to city and cultural transformation. And we're going to talk more about that in the abolitionist movement, specifically abortion. And you're currently the chairman of CD3,
yes,
which is awesome and exciting. And you've been involved with the Logan County GOP. So you've got a lot going on.
Lots going on. A lot of irons in the fire.
Yes. Okay. So we're going to back up for a second, because I think the ecclesia, I think that's going to be a longer conversation. So I want to ask you about being the chair of CD3, so Congressional District 3.
Sure.
He's a chair. So tell the audience, what does a CD chairperson do?
So one of the things that I have been focusing on is, number one, working on communications. And so we've been working through Facebook, trying to get the message out, even from our state GOP office, if they send out an email, if they send out information, getting that information out. The other most important thing, I believe, is promoting the platform and the principles of our party.
Principles. Hold on. Did you say principles of our party?
I did.
Okay.
I did. Not an accident, because I feel like those principles and values are actually under attack right now.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're using social media a lot. We're doing a lot of live streaming out of Logan County. Other county GOPs that are filming or live streaming their monthly meetings that are educational. We're taking that information, putting it out there, and sharing it, because education is so vitally important. You get so much different information, and we just want to say, here's the information. You make the educated decision on what you believe is truth, and here's our principles and values. And across the state, people will call me and say, Daniel, what do you think about this candidate? And I was like, it doesn't matter what I think about them. What is their voting record? Mm-hmm. Here's our principles and values. Here's how they voted. What do you think? So it's a pretty way to do it. And it's just educating and giving the people the tools to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's one thing that I always tell people, is that I use the platform, what we say that we stand for, as the checklist when looking at a candidate, whether they're an incumbent or they're a challenger. Okay, let's just go down the checklist of what it is that we say we stand for.
Because you can say anything.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we have found, that people will tell you whatever you want to hear to be elected. They want to vote. They're selling themselves, and they're going to do everything they can to do that. But the action, the reality is going to be in their actions. How did they vote when the rubber met the road and everyone was standing against them? Did they go with the tide because they didn't want to be reprimanded for doing what was right? Or did they, it's there in the voting record.
Oh, yeah.
And it's available for anybody to see.
Yeah. And I always encourage people to, it is out there. It is public knowledge. You can go onto the state website and look up the legislature, the Senate, the House, and look at their everything that they do. It's all public information, but definitely look at it, because you might be surprised at how some folks are voting on things. And it is important to pay attention to it.
Absolutely.
And it's, you don't want to cast stones, but I know that being in some of those positions are tough. I've talked to some of the people who are currently seated that have had to vote, and they have been in a position where they felt like they couldn't vote for something or against something that was controversial because of the pressure that was put on them.
Sure.
Man, that's tough. That's why, you're elected.
It really is. And I think I'm kind of a literalist, and so one of my favorite things is language and words. And so many times we say words all the time, and we don't even really take in consideration what we say. So one of those is like representative. Actually, representative. You represent the people who voted for you. So you are a carbon copy of them and represent. Like, it's not about you going up there and pushing your own ideas and agenda.
Yes.
You are there to represent the people, govern righteously and justly, and protect their rights.
That's right.
And you're there whether anybody likes you, whether you get reprimanded, whether there are consequences, and all your peers are saying, come on. You don't work for them.
Yeah.
You were hired by the people in your district, in your county, to represent them.
That's
and
right.
when they don't represent you, you need to be on the phone and calling them. Like, they have a responsibility, but so do we.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what was that about? Like, if that's going to continue, like, there's an answer for that. And that's like removing you and placing someone else in there, which is why I'm so thankful for the kind of government that we live in, that we don't have to be stuck with these people forever.
Yeah. Thank God, for real.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to get into the other tough stuff. So you're ready for some tough questions?
I'm ready.
Right?
I'm
okay.
ready.
All right. We'll be right back.
Another one drives a truck. Visit cdluniversity.org. At CDL University, and another success, another one drives a truck. Hey, gonna help you too. Another one drives a
Dear Miller, CDL University. For some of you, it's already too late. You're standing over in a dirt field, waiting in line to back a truck, and it's been 3 weeks now. If you're gonna do this, do it right. Come to CDL University. Get your CDL.
Welcome back to Me, Myself, and Liberty. If you haven't yet, be sure to tag your friends and share this, because we're going to talk about a lot of things that I know are on your mind out there. So be sure and share this, okay? Okay, so Daniel Navejas is with us, and we've talked a little bit about what it is like to be CD3, the leader of CD3.
Sure.
Now we're going to get into something a little bit more important, probably. I'm gonna say ecclesia, because I've been saying that
That's
for so
fine.
long.
That's fine.
Because I feel like I have to qualify it every time. Ecclesia. All right. So, okay. So I want you, in your best way, to describe what the mission and what the goal is, because I think, and I'm going to ask you some questions about this, but there's a perception out there about what you do, and it may be absolutely correct. But I want to, in your own words, for the audience to understand what your mission is. Okay.
Sure. I think that can be explained in a couple of different ways. In one sense, it's simply taking the church outside of the four walls. I found up until the last 2.5 years, as long as I stayed in the four walls and under a steeple, there was no backlash. Nobody cared. Nobody bothered. The moment I stepped out the front doors and started taking the ideals and principles and values of the Bible, which are congruent with the principles and ideals of our platform, our Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, then there was a major backlash. And so we've traveled across the state of Oklahoma into all 77 counties, met with pastors, many minister leaders. We've been to churches, we've been to GOP meetings, we've been to all kinds of different meetings, basically reminding the church of their identity. What did Jesus say about them? He said, you're salt, light, seed, leaven, cities on a hill. But most Christians are not involved in their culture. They're not involved in government and politics. They say, ooh, it's evil, it's wicked, it's dirty. We don't want to have anything about it. It's dark. And we just say it's dark because there's no light there. Mm-hmm. It's decayed because there's no salt there. Like, if you just show up and do, like, everything, it's not even a hard fight. Mm-hmm. It really, all you have to do is show up and just say, actually, we don't agree with that. Actually, we agree with it. And it makes a complete difference. And not just in school boards. Mm-hmm. And city councils. Like, we're telling people, like, well, I couldn't run for Senate, or I couldn't be a representative. It's like, could you be part of your school board? Mm-hmm. Do you enjoy having Molly Has Two Mommies on the bookshelves of your? I don't. And I realize
and that's a real thing.
And it is a real thing.
Yeah.
And there are people that are literally sitting, having videos and sitting down and planning meetings and saying, how can we push this on our children? Mm-hmm. And we're saying, well, we're going to stay home and pray about it. I'm a huge proponent of prayer. Matter of fact, it's one of our first core values of our ministry. But faith without works is dead. Mm-hmm. So we have to move out of the altars, move out of our prayer gatherings, and saying, I have to actually engage my culture, and I have to go and run to be on school board, or find someone in my community who's willing to, who values these principles and ideals and says, no, we're not going to have these books in our school, in our city councils. There are people that are like, let's build this city off of the backs of hard workers. Let's increase taxes. Mm-hmm. Someone has to be there to say, no, that's not the way we're going to build the city. So
yeah, and so many Christians, so many churches, they just want to stay out of politics altogether. I've had several conversations with people who they'll say, I'm glad that my church stays out of it, or I wish my pastor would speak up. I mean, even on issues of abortion. I mean, like there are pastors who don't talk about it at all.
Sure.
And I don't, to me, there's a conflict there.
Right.
And we're going to get into more of this, but, what I have people that say, okay, but not every Republican is a Christian. So they have this mindset that we shouldn't be framing everything as a biblical truth, or as with the Bible as our measuring stick, because they say, well, what about me? I'm an atheist. Or what about me? I'm whatever, fill in the blank.
Right.
So they have a real hard time with those types of statements.
Right.
So we just jumped right into that, didn't we?
Sure.
Okay. So what do you say to the people out there who say, okay, so what about me? I'm not a Christian and I have no intent to ever be. So why do we need to follow biblical principles with regard to politics?
Sure. Well, and I think the Ecclesia of Oklahoma is a perfect example of this. We have people that are part of the Ecclesia of Oklahoma that are not Christians. They're openly atheists. We have some people that are actually even Orthodox Jews. They're saying we're not Christians. We think your whole religious beliefs is a crazy, off-the-wall, nuts, psychopath, fantasy world, whatever they want to say. But they say we don't want the LGBT agenda pushing our children. We don't want babies being murdered. We want the right to own and have and bear guns. For various reasons in all these areas. And so they're saying, we can't agree with that, but we don't really see anybody else who's aggressively
going
attacking
after
these
it.
Issues. And because you are, we're willing to get involved.
Yeah.
Now with that, in Christianity, here one of my old sayings is, a booger in the punch bowl ruins the whole party.
I scratched my nose. It had nothing to do with it, I promise. Now I'm going to be all self-conscious for the rest of the show.
I'll do mine too, so we're okay.
All right, we're good.
But they say a booger in a punch bowl ruins the whole party. No one wants to drink out of that. And what happens is whenever sometimes those, even those that are well-meaning, may say something that alienates the others.
Yeah.
It says, I don't want to play with you.
Yeah.
But the reality is Christianity is what gives us the right gives the entire nation the right to say, I disagree with you. Mm-hmm. And let's not have a problem with that, because the word requires us to love our neighbors as we love ourselves, not quotation marks, as long as they agree with you.
Yeah.
Even those that disagree with me, I still have the responsibility to treat you with respect and honor and be able to love you at the end of the day, whether we disagree or agree.
So you were talking about how in the beginning we're about Christians being involved in politics. If more Christians were involved in politics, I don't think it would be as ugly as it is. Some people think that it's the religious people who make it ugly. It's not. I believe that the people, if they're truly, we Christians, followers of Christ, if they're truly, then you can't do that. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to be able to have a conversation with somebody and disagree. And something that I've never said on this program before, and I'll say it too because I'll be interested in your opinion on this. So I have a very, very good friend of mine. In fact, my best friend, my longest time best friend, he is gay. And we've known each other for a very long time. I was divorced several years ago, and he was the person who was there for me. He really, he says to me, he's terrified of the drag queen story hours and all this stuff. He's like, there's no reason for them to be there. Like and of course I believe it too. He said, this is predatory. Like there's no reason for, he's like, regardless of where you stand on that issue, as far as, homosexuality and all that stuff, he is one of these people that he is very, very conservative. He's very Republican. He's one of those people that have the controversial bumper stickers that I'm like, you're that person that people like honk at and flip off. But he has like the Trump stickers, and he's very conservative. He serves in his church. He's Catholic, and that kind of thing. But like in the gay community, he gets pushback because, like, well, wait a minute, you don't want these rights, you don't want this, and he's going, what is this about? Why are you wanting to introduce cross-dressing? I saw something where they were trying to teach that, like, at a school in Texas. Sure. Like, it was on, they actually did it. Did you see that?
I didn't see that, but I did hear
They
about
actually did. It had a class on how to apply makeup and that kind of thing in a transgender. I mean, it was like, and my friend, he's one of those that he says, no, there's no reason for this. And so clearly he's somebody who's on our side.
Right.
He believes, so we're going to get into that because there's some people I know that are watching that they're like, so wait a minute.
I mean, it's an excellent discussion. I'm excited to jump into it.
Yeah, good. All right. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Me, Myself, and Liberty. If you missed that last segment, we covered we covered so much without covering as much as we wanted to.
It's amazing how quick 10 minutes goes by.
I know. We're gonna end up having to. We already know that we're gonna have you come back because we've already started like 4 conversations that we're gonna have to get to at some point.
Right.
Okay, so. Was there anything you wanted to touch on what we were just talking about before we get to the next subject?
Just really quickly, as I think maybe a great way to sum this up, John Adams said that our Constitution was made for a moral and religious people. We have people, like I said earlier, that are part of the ecclesia. They say, you guys I don't believe all that religious stuff, but morally, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Now, the reality is I probably would not make them a leader over what we're doing because we are primarily a Christian group. We wouldn't want different ideologies being pushed that were anti-Christian.
Yeah.
But in the same sense, there are people that are a part of the party that may not share in those values. Earlier I was saying we had, 7 months ago, we had 10,000 people that were members of the Ecclesia of Oklahoma on our group. Overnight, Facebook came in, deleted 8,200 of them, and dropped us down. And out of 10,000 people, you cannot tell me that their people are not dealing with lust. Many of them are not dealing with adultery, marital issues, family issues, gluttony, whatever the sin is. So this kind of comes into like, he without sin, throw the first stone. So if we're talking about our spiritual dispositions and areas that we're working on or working through, that's completely different than me saying, I'm going to start the gluttonous Republican Party group. Like, I want to push my sin. And I think that's the difference that we're seeing in some of these groups that, yes, you may be dealing with something like, we're not starting like the adulterous Republicans of Oklahoma. Like, that's like cheat on your wives, like the swingers group of Oklahoma.
I don't want to
crazy.
be a part of that group at all.
I mean, you understand what I'm saying? Like, that's not helpful.
Yeah.
Because, and number one, it's incongruent with our party. Yes, people are dealing with things, people are going through issues, but at the basis, they're not trying to push their dispositions into a part of the party platform, which I find is dangerous.
And this is something that I want people to understand is you can't, like you said, religious and moral, because there are people. I mean, there are atheists who are staunchly anti-abortion.
Absolutely,
and it's not because it's not for the same reasons that you and I might be, but they say science says this is a life, so. It's alive, and this is a person, and then there are a lot of Democrats. There's actually one that's kind of gaining some traction, and it's Democrats for Life, and they are. I have a very good friend. She she is pro-life, and I know that's not the same as saying abolitionist.
Sure.
But from conception, she believes in life happens from conception,
right.
and she's a Democrat. And you think, gosh, how does that, But
well, I mean, even
that's
Bible,
encouraging.
It is, and here's how the Bible speaks of this. It says that the law of God has been written on the heart of every man, every woman. You don't have to be a Christian or born again to realize if someone starts grabbing you across, the throat, you're like, please stop.
Yeah.
If you see someone molesting another person or taking advantage of another human being, there's something that has been woven into the DNA of every human being
not right.
that's wrong.
Yeah.
That is the part of us, the God part of us, that we are created in His image. Every single person is created in His image that has that deep in their DNA. Mm-hmm. The Bible just reveals that and shows that to us, and we can see that clearly. Where other people say, I don't know why I feel this way. Well, the Word of God tells us clearly why you feel that way.
Okay, so just so we're clear, you as a religious person, not religious, I hate that word, religious
right.
leader and ecclesia, you don't hate other groups. Do you hate people who are gay?
I do not hate people that are gay.
Okay.
Do not hate them. Actually, I do have relationships with people that are gay.
Okay.
I have relationships with people that are divorced. I have relationships with people that are
adulterers. Gosh,
I have relationships with people that have lied and have taken things that didn't belong to them before, and lawbreakers,
mm-hmm.
bad people.
Yeah.
And
I like to say bad people because all of us fall into a category.
Exactly. Well, the Word of God, there's not one that is holy. All have fallen short of the glory of God.
Mm-hmm.
I have to continually remind myself that I am too one of those bad people
mm-hmm.
who has found salvation and forgiveness in mm-hmm. Jesus Christ.
Okay. So I just wanted to make it clear that you weren't like that you hated, because you know how those religious people are. They hate anybody that's different than them. All right, of course, I'm saying that tongue in cheek.
And I think
really.
that disposition, honestly, I think that's we probably have to talk again, but that sentiment exists on both sides of the aisle. There are those, again, the booger in the punch bowl ruins the party. There are those that use the gospel as an opportunity to say, I hate you.
That's
I hate
right.
everything about you.
And there are boogers watching, I can tell you.
I'm probably going to get emails and messages and all stuff. That's
fine. I am too.
Send them to Kyle. He likes reading this stuff. But my point is, but there are people on the other side that say, well, we want tolerance and we want acceptance. You're absolutely not tolerant of Christians.
Yeah.
You're not tolerant of conservatives.
Exactly.
You're not, so
yeah.
Let's not play, you can't play both sides of that coin. Like
That's
either we're going to love each other or we're not.
Yeah.
But we always want to say, let's play the same game, but we're not playing by the same rules.
That's right. That's exactly right. And that's a very good point. Okay, so one thing that I wanted to get to is the division in the party. Okay, so this is at national and state levels, and
sure.
Our even county. I mean, it's like the state party is just a microcosm of the national party. There's so much division right now.
Right.
And one of the things that I hear a lot is, well, if you're not as pro-life as somebody else, or if you are not as pro-gun as somebody else, then you're attacked. And somebody made a very good point, and I agree with this, that it's easier many times to have a conversation with a moderate Democrat and actually agree and say, well, I agree to disagree. And I'm not talking about the extremists. I'm talking about the Democrats that I know that are just kind of the blue dog Democrat. I can have a conversation with them and nobody ends up calling me any names and this and that.
Right.
But then it's the Republicans that are on our own side of the line that are doing the most vicious attacking. Mm-hmm. I had posted this poll, and if we have time, I'll make sure that we show it just so people can see what it was. But it was about deviant Democrats versus rogue Republicans, which is more toxic. And I went into this thing about it. But I had somebody that attacked me personally and said that I was a communist.
Yikes.
And it was because it was just the most bizarre. And I'm like, you're supposed to be on the same side. Like,
right.
And it was because they were saying that I wasn't pro-gun enough. And I'm going, I was literally, when I ran for office, was made fun of because of how pro-gun I am. So we're seeing a lot of that in the party. So I'm interested in your opinion about this divide in the party and what is causing it. What can we do? Do you have any thoughts on this?
I have a lot of thoughts on it. I don't know how much we'll be able to cover before we go into the next segment. But for example, yesterday I had an opportunity to meet with a gentleman. Like I said, a lot of my friends are in their 80s. Some of my best friends are like gray hairs. They have gray hairs. They're my friends. And one of the things that he shared, he says, the America we live in today is not the America that I grew up in. His comment, and I thought it was just a great way of saying it, when I grew up, America was about apple pie and driving red Chevrolets. You drive the drag, go get a cheeseburger, come home, it was just...
Drag meant something different.
It meant something, not that kind of drag, But today, I think what's happening is there are things that are shifting so drastically, and I think there's fear. There's a lot of fear of saying, if we don't put major brakes on, like we've already gone too far in so many of these areas, 61 million babies aborted. 250,000 of those are Oklahoma citizens. 15 to 25 a day in Oklahoma, every business day. Think about, like, I am very much a major supporter of our president. Even until today, the Democrats are trying to find some kind of loophole to prove a false election. Let's get rid of this guy. Let's impeach him. What are they going to do when they impeach him? If they got what they wanted, they'd put a Hillary Clinton in there. So when we look at that, people are scared to death because we have been so apathetic and so, didn't have a spine to stand up when we should have. Then now they're operating at these extreme levels because we have to do something to reclaim what we have before we even lose the opportunity to get it back. And Trump has provided what I believe is a window of opportunity to get many of these rights back. That if you have a Hillary or you have one of these Democrats that come in, it will not happen.
And so maybe the answer is sometimes we're extreme because we have no choice.
Right.
We're at that point. So, okay, we're going to have to take a quick break, and we will be right back.
Introducing all new, safe, natural relief. A cannabinoid-rich, clarity and focus formula with 17 essential supplements. When it matters most, you've got a job to do. Anxiety isn't an option. Programmed to keep you moving. A product exclusively manufactured for Active Duty RX by Cantech Labs.
Welcome back to Me, Myself, and Liberty. Okay, so again, we got, there's so much we want to talk about.
Move so quickly.
Okay, so I want to give you a second because I know this is a very important issue to me, but this is what you do. So
sure.
Tell the audience, the abolitionist movement, what it means, what it is, and why it doesn't make you somebody who hates people who are pro-life. Because that's one thing I'm going to tell the audience that one of the things that I hear is because you are an abolitionist and Ecclesia is abolitionist, that if you're pro-life, we don't want anything to do with you. Right. Or if you identify as pro-life.
Sure. So probably the easiest definition of an abolitionist, as we are seeking the immediate and total abolition of abortion, it means you're going to have to reject Roe. Mm-hmm. It means that you're going to have to criminalize abortion, which a lot of people have problems with. That's equal justice for what's going on. And it means that we're rejecting regulatory and incremental bills opposed to the other. So part of the reason is I have to say I do not hate pro-lifers. As a matter of fact, many of them are friends. I work with them. The Ecclesia works with many pro-life organizations. The reason why is 2.5 years ago I was pro-life. Mm-hmm. It's what I thought was the very best thing that we could do at the time. And anything that I would say to our viewers that are watching, that I would share with you or anybody else, is, for example, over the last decade, have there been things that you've changed your mind on?
Oh, God.
That your eyes have been open, said, whoa, that's not everything I thought it was. Whether you're talking about pharmaceuticals, whether you're talking about food, whether you're talking about all these different things, government, America,
homeschooling.
Regardless of what it is, your eyes are open to, it's like, okay, we're going to make a shift. And this is what I found out, is that most common, everyday Christian, pro-lifers, good-willed people that want to see abortion ended, want to see abortion ended. And when you ask them, why hasn't abortion been ended yet? They had no clue of being able to say why that is. And they don't know. They're just told, we're doing the best we can do. This is what you do. Go to Rose Day, take a rose to your legislator and say, thank you for everything you've done to save babies. They don't realize that the people at the very top, the pro-life leaders, are actually actively fighting against laws that end abortion, and not even just abolitionist bills. They actually fight against pro-life bills. Sorry, I just spit across the room. They fight against pro-life bills that are seeking to end abortion. And so we're saying, stop the compromise. Stop. If New York is saying, let's have a baby born, let's put it in the corner, and up into 2 weeks, let's determine whether we're going to kill it or not. Someone has to be arguing on the other end in a very righteous way of saying, no compromise. 61 million babies is too much. 250,000 Oklahoman citizens is too much. If we look over the last 46 years, there are currently 250 pro-life laws in the United States. Those laws saved less than 0.01% of babies being aborted. That's not a success. And we can't keep saying, well, we're heading in the right direction. We've been heading in the right direction for 46 years, and we wouldn't agree with these same ideas in anything else. If we're talking, we use the word abolition because we equate it to the abolition of slavery. There's not a single person watching, a single person that would say, well, let's just enslave half of the Black Americans. Let's incrementally do it. It's heinous to think that you can take another human being, turn them into a slave, breed them, take their children, and sell them into slavery somewhere else. That's so far beyond our thinking. But today, because we've dealt with this for so long, we've become apathetic to it. We don't even realize that 15 to 25 preborn babies are chopped up, crushed, scalded with acid, poisoned in their mother's womb every business day, because they look like dentist office. There's no crime tape. There's no police officers showing up. There's no news. I mean, but if you saw the news tonight and it said, Guthrie, I'm from Guthrie, so 15 to 25 children were murdered at Guthrie Public Schools today. The outrage would be, and then the next day it happens again in Oklahoma City. The next day it happens in Tulsa. There would be such an outrage in our state. But this is happening every day right now. We just go through it. So what we're saying is we are no longer supporting incremental bills. We're no longer saying, because if you look at these bills, all of them, 100% of them, and I will debate with anybody this, and I'll do it in a very gracious way, although these babies are saving potentially less than 0.01%, what they do, not hypothetically, but by fact, they determine when, where, and how a baby can be legally murdered under the protection of law. It has to be in a sanitary room. You have to use this tool and not that tool. Woman has to read a pamphlet. Lady has to get an ultrasound. She has to let's check the heartbeat. Again, a lot of people say, Daniel, do you support a heartbeat bill? You would think an abolitionist would support a heartbeat bill, wouldn't you?
That's what,
you would think. I do not support a heartbeat bill. The reason why is if that bill required a mother to go to a pregnancy health care center that was actually pro-life or actually had the child's, had their best interest at mind, maybe. But if you're saying that an abortionist who makes money and profits off of murdering innocent, defenseless, preborn babies, I can take that probe and put it here, there's no heartbeat. I can move it here, there can be a heartbeat. If I'm doing an ultrasound, many of the laws say you have to show a picture of the pregnancy. So they're taking a picture of a placenta and saying it's nothing but a clump of cells. There's nothing here. And we work with sonographers that people come into the emergency room. 3 days earlier, they were at a Planned Parenthood and got an ultrasound and a heartbeat. They said there's no heartbeat there, there's no baby there. They go into emergency room because they're sick, and there's a heartbeat, and there's a face looking back at them on the screen, and they're saying, what is that? I was just at Planned Parenthood. And they said there's nothing there. I'm scheduled for an abortion in 7 days. So you have to realize that these abortionists that profit off of murdering babies are laughing at all pro-life laws because they can drive semi-trucks through them and say, write us another one. Just give us the guidelines. One that most people celebrate, you can't kill a baby in Oklahoma based on its sex. So you find out you're pregnant and it's a boy, you can't go to the abortion and say, I wanted a girl, so kill this one. So everyone said, whoa, that's a great bill. It sounds great.
It sounds like a great bill.
It sounds like a great bill, but I could just show up and say, for no reason at all, I don't want this baby, kill it. Do you see what the problem is? Yeah. And so these loopholes are so huge. It's window dressing. And so we're saying, whether we're talking, we wouldn't use these same regulations and incrementalism for guns. We wouldn't use it for slavery. We wouldn't use it for we wouldn't use it for theft. Like, it's against the law to rob banks. But if you do, we're just going to incrementally slow down. Like, this is crazy. We would not use any of these ideas with anything else, which puts, like, instead of actually taking the axe to the root and saying, we're going to end this. In this generation, in 2020, this ends now. We've rolled over on our bellies and said, we're so afraid of you. Like, if you're going to kill him, like, at least let's make sure it's done in a sanitary room.
Yeah.
At least don't. So we write a bill that says you cannot dismember a baby as long as it's alive. Like, just poke it and poison it and pour acid on it. And then after there's no heartbeat that can be detected, then use a utensil and rip out the leg and rip out this arm and crush the torso and pull that out. And we celebrate that as Christians.
Yeah.
We said, this is good. This is a move in the right direction. It's not a move in the right direction, because in those that are spiritual, that have eyes to see, that would look from a biblical world view, this is nothing more than negotiations with the prophets of Baal. This is negotiations with the spirit of death. And my question when I talk to pro-lifers, I say this is a step in the right direction. If we use those same statistics on your children, I would say, Leslie, which one of your children? Mm-hmm. Because not mine. None of them. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if it's not okay for my family, why is it okay for the young woman in Oklahoma City who doesn't have a father, who comes from a fatherless home, that if my child grows up and she gets pregnant and she's seeking abortion, I'm saying, you don't have to do that. We will figure out, and I figure you would probably be the same way with your children and most pro-lifers that are out there. But you know what? That young woman down at 44th Street that's going to seek an abortion probably doesn't have a father.
Yeah. And
has some low life as a boyfriend that's like, instead of me helping you and going get a second job and make sure we take care of this child, I'll pay money for you to kill this baby. Like, you understand what I'm saying? And so that's why we don't seek incrementalism. 46 years, it doesn't work. Now is a time for justice. Now is a time to end it, saying enough is enough. Now is a time saying abolish abortion in Oklahoma.
I think that is probably the best explanation I have heard.
Thank you.
I see the break sign over there. So we're going to take a break, and I will ask you one other question in my close, which I normally don't do, but we'll be right back. Welcome back. All right, so we're on our last segment. This is normally a pretty short segment, but I really want to get to another question.
Can I interrupt you real quick?
Yes.
I just want to say one last little snippet that I think, because it was a question of, what about the pro-lifer versus abolitionist? When I share this with pro-lifers, I never go into the room and say, you're dumb, you're stupid, you don't love God. Mm-hmm. It's literally flicking on the light, and they're like, oh, wow, switch. Mm-hmm. Of course we want abortion to be ended. A lot of people say, I support the end of Roe versus Wade. I say, does that end abortion? No. It sends it back to the states, and the states have to deal with it. So by focusing on bills like SB 13 that would abolish abortion in Oklahoma, it's dealing with it at the state level now and actually taking something that would challenge Roe versus Wade. So I just wanted to, I felt that was important. Yeah. We want to work with pro-lifers. We have the same agenda, but I do feel like there are people at the top that are deceiving and not being completely honest on what their agendas are.
Oh, I think so too. Okay. So let me ask you a question. One of the things that I hear a lot from either my friends that are Democrats or my Republican friends, I wouldn't say that they're never Trumpers per se, but so one of the things that they say is, how can you support someone who has had all these moral issues? So, Donald Trump, he's known as a womanizer. He's been married 3 times. He has all these marks on his name. How are you okay with that? Mm-hmm. And I know what answer I give them. I'm interested in what answer you give.
Sure. So this would probably be a whole nother discussion again, so I'll try to condense it as quickly as possible. There was an interview that took place where there was somebody interviewing President Trump, and they asked him, have you asked God for forgiveness? Mm-hmm. And if you remember this interview.
Yes, I do. I remember it.
Of course, all of my Christian friends just went crazy over this thing, and he says, no, I haven't. When I make a mistake, I'm just going to fix it and try to do better, not screw up again next time. That is the definition for repentance. We as Christians like the definition of repentance to be an apology, which is what happens a lot of times in churchianity and Christianity. Like, oh, I'm sorry, then I go back and do it again. I'm sorry, I go back and I do it again. And he's saying, I believe that 10 years ago, I'm in relationship with ministers who know President Trump personally and know that 10 years ago he came to Christ, he put his faith in Jesus Christ, and I feel like his actions show and bear fruits worthy of repentance. I don't think that he is at the mercy of every person in the world that needs to say, hey, just to let you know, on this date I prayed a prayer and I signed the card, and I just want everyone to know, like, I believe that his fruits in his life is showing that and moving that direction. Is he perfect? Do I think that he's the most godly? Do I think he would I make him Sunday school teacher of my church?
No.
Probably not. Would I make him the PR person for the ecclesia?
Really
probably not. But at the same time, is he doing what he said he was going to do? Here's one of the biggest problems that I see is when President Trump has had a conference for minister leaders nationwide to come together. And he stands at a platform and says, guys, we're going to deal with this Johnson Amendment. We're going to give you your rights back, and you're going to be able to speak without any fear of anyone telling you what you can say and using the 501c3 as a gag order. These religious leaders are silent. They're like crickets. They're so afraid to say anything. They're afraid to clap. They're afraid to get behind it because they've been themselves so quiet for so long.
Yeah.
And so what's happening is, when I'm talking about cultural transformation, obviously we want to share the gospel with people. When people hear the gospel, they receive the gospel, they repent, they come to Christ. Our hope is that they would turn around and use their influence and their abilities to share that with everybody else. President Trump has gone out of the way to say we're a Christian nation. He's gone out of his way. We're going to move the capital of Israel from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. That's a big move, especially. You understand what I'm saying? Like, saying, church, I'm going to give you your voice back. This is your shining moment to push back against these issues. Like, he needs, in order to get these agendas done with, he needs the church to get involved. He needs them to use their pulpits as voices of truth. And so that would be my response to that.
Well, I'm definitely going to have to come back because I wanted to talk about Kanye too, because I know that, any news feed out there, you've got the Kanye and you've got the pro and the against. Sure. And, I'm definitely one of those people that I say, are you kidding? Why would we not want him to come over to our side?
Sure.
Like, that's what you want, right?
Sure.
Isn't that what you want? You want him to bring him over and influence people. And sure, people are expecting him to overnight be this
theologian.
Theologian, and it's not going to happen.
Well, you think of the scripture, it says, follow me and I will make you fishers of men. There's a part of when we begin following Christ that he begins to make us into his image. And we want to make everyone in our image. We want to put our brand on them, wear our jersey, speak our language, be in our camp. And I don't think it's about that. And so do I necessarily think, Paul gave an expiration date. He says, follow me as I follow Christ. The moment I'm not following Christ anymore, run the other way. Same thing with Kanye. As long as he's speaking the direction of Christ and he's calling people to repentance and not saying, all this craziness, sure, embrace it, enjoy it, hear his testimony, see how his life's being changed, watch and follow, share it. The album is great. I love the album. But if he goes sideways, then just like the Apostle Paul, who we say we read all of his books, he said, if I'm leading us astray, then you need to go the other direction. And so my faith is not in Kanye West. My faith is not in Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I don't follow the Pope. I don't follow a denomination. I don't follow any religious leader. I'm following Jesus Christ.
And that's important, I think, for everybody to keep in mind. Okay, so where can we're going to have you come back because there's some things that we can branch off and talk about.
Sure.
Where can people find you? What is there anything going on?
Lots of stuff going on. We have a big event coming up in February. So the 7th through the 11th, we are doing an abolition conference. We're working with Free the States, Oklahomans United for Life, Operation Rescue America. Many national organizations are coming into Oklahoma. We're expecting about 5,000 people to show up nationwide, literally coming to the Capitol and calling our legislators and saying, enough is enough. Like, if remember whenever they had the whole tax issue to raise taxes, the first response from the legislators was like, no tax raise. 30,000 people showed up, and guess what they got?
Yeah.
This is the responsibility of the people. The people of Oklahoma, there's 1.3 million evangelicals in Oklahoma. If they would show up to the Capitol and say, no more compromise, no more games, end abortion, do it now. Governor Stitt, you said that you were more pro-life than Dan Fisher, that you were going to sign any bill that would end abortion. You call on the legislator to do that. Senator Treat, stop playing games. Senator Smalley, stop billing. Allow this bill, SB 13, to go through. Allow it to have a hearing. Give us a bill that will abolish abortion in Oklahoma. And 5,000 people are planning to attend, to show up. So that will be taking place through the 7th through the 11th. Our people will be on the university. They'll be on college campuses. They will be at abortion clinics. You're going to see shirts that all look the same happening all throughout the metro. On the 11th is Abolition Day, and we'll specifically be at the Capitol. We'll also have teams there that are praying for 77 hours, 1 hour for every county in the state, praying and worshiping, saying, God, end this atrocity in Oklahoma. Let it stop here in Oklahoma. And they'll be covering that in prayer. So that's happening in February. If people want to follow us, they can go to the Ecclesia of Oklahoma. We have a page, we have a group online, and we have a website, ekkok.com. They can see all the events, everything we're doing. We're doing educational events. We just recently got done doing a 6-week course on abortion apologetics. So how can we have these conversations in a graceful way, which isn't, you're dumb, you're stupid, let's stop.
You're a baby killer.
You're a baby killer. Obviously, that helps nobody.
That helps nobody.
So we want to be able to teach people how to have these conversations in a graceful way. And then we're working on a platform right now that we'll be able to move our contacts to this platform where there's zero censoring, zero algorithms. So everything that they post, everything that they share, because we focus on a lot of other things than just abolishing abortion. We're working on city and cultural transformation, families, education, arts, entertainment, media, government, politics, getting involved in local GOP, and so on and so forth. You can find all of that on the website. And
we'll make sure that we post that as well. Okay, well, I'm so glad that you came today, and I want to remind our audience that the conservative Christmas celebration is coming up. And I said conservative, I didn't say Republican for a reason. I said conservative. Conservative Christmas on December 14th from 6 p.m. until about 8:30. We have it 6 to 9, but reception will be at 6, and then festivities will start at 6:30. CD5 candidates will be there. There's some sponsorships available. There's going to be all kinds of prizes and all kinds of things. And yes, there will be a cash bar there.
Take it easy. Take it easy. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I know. All right. So join us for that. And I really appreciate you being here today.
Thank you so much.
It was fun, and we will definitely have you back.
Thank you.
So, all right. We will see you, or I will see you next week. Have a great Thanksgiving. I know that I will. Stretchy pants are in my future. All right. We'll see ya.
When I'm with you, there's no one else around. Yeah, I'm so high, gravity can't hold me down. Imagine faith and hope so alive. You got me feeling so good, 'cause baby, you're like the sun flying high on a blue sky, shining bright into the night. The stars sparkling down, yeah, diamonds and gold can't compare to your world. It's somewhere far beyond heaven and earth. When I hold you, I'm high above the clouds. Yeah, I'm so free. I don't think I'm ever coming down. Imagine faith and hope so alive. You got me feeling so good, 'cause baby, you're like the sun flying high on a blue sky, shining bright into the night. The stars sparkling down, yeah, diamonds and gold can't compare to your world. It's somewhere far beyond heaven and earth. a star sparkling down